Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Premier League is almost starting, and you know what that means. It's prediction time. So let's start off with last place. The team that will finish 20th for me is gonna be Norwich City. They've sold one of their best players in Buendia, and two other key players are also linked with moves away. Todd Cantwell is being linked with Aston Villa recently, and Max Aarons is also being linked with plenty of clubs because there's a lot of clubs looking for a new right back. Norwich also haven't really bought in players that blow my mind yet, and they have a very tough start to the season. In the first 4 matches they play in Liverpool, Man City, Leicester and Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal's not that tough, but I mean those teams are not the easiest to play against when you're just promoted, and that can just set them off on the bad foot and with a lack of confidence for the remainder of the season. I think Watford will finish in 19th. Their new signings haven't impressed me much. They do have some decent players on their hand with Ismail Assar, Troy Deeney, Will Hughes, but the last one is also being linked with a move away. And I just can't see Watford doing that well with the team they've got. I think they will struggle a lot against the quality of teams they're going to be up against. Okay, and the last team I'm predicting to go down to the Championship and to relegate is Newcastle United. I mean, it's just not looking great for Newcastle. Like, there's nothing happening. There's been no new signings. Last year, the team already wasn't that great. Mike Ashley is still running the club as well. I mean, it's not looking great at all. I see a lot of rivals to Newcastle around them, making new signings, strengthening their squad, and Newcastle just isn't doing that. So I think this is the year the team is gonna go down. The first club I expect to narrowly avoid relegation is Brighton. I mean, the team isn't the best, but they have got good tactics, they've got a good manager, but I think they will really struggle with the quality of teams they are up against. However, they should still be good enough to survive. Okay, I think Burnley will finish in 16th place. Burnley is a solid team with a lot of Premier League experience, but they always seem to struggle a bit. What will keep them up though is the fact that they are extremely difficult to beat, especially at home, because they're such a well-organized and defensive side. It's tough for anyone to play against them. But going forward, I'm not expecting anything spectacular from Burnley, so a decent 16th place finish it is for me. 15th will be Crystal Palace for me. I think Crystal Palace will struggle this year, but I do really like the way the team is progressing, and I am especially impressed by their new signings. But my only reservation about this Crystal Palace side is their new manager, Patrick Vieira. I think it's been a very ambitious acquirement to make Vieira the head coach, but I do have my doubts whether he is good enough. Like, so far for me, it looks like it is a step down from their previous manager in Roy Hodgson. And I do think Vieira could be one of the first managers to get the sack this season. However, I would like him to prove me wrong, because this Palace side is a very exciting team, and they do have a lot going for it with Zaha, Eze, and now Olise as well. So with those players and with the experienced Premier League players, I think they should be able to survive relegation and to stay up. Southampton will finish in 14th for me. I think they will struggle a lot this season as well. They did so near the end of last season as well, where their first half year was very good and their second half year was just very poor. So the key for this Southampton side is to get more consistent, but I don't really see that happening. Now, newcomer Brentford will finish 13th, I believe. Brentford is a very well-run club. I like their transfer policy. They never really miss with any of the signings they make. Their style of play is great to watch as well, and I think this team can really do well in the Premier League. And if Ivan Toney can get his shooting boots on in the Premier League as well and score 12 to 15 goals, they're for sure staying up. Now, a first real shock in my prediction perhaps is the fact that I predict Arsenal to finish 12th. Yes, Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal is just not going into a good direction, and the club has failed to live up to expectations, and they have failed to impress in recent years. You know, and this summer they haven't gotten much stronger. They only signed up Nuno Tavares and Sambi Lokonga, but those are not really signings that blow my mind and that think like, Arsenal want to play for top 6 again, you know? Arsenal can be brilliant at times, and last year they were brilliant at times, but most of the time they're just quite shite. They really are. So for me, it will be a 12th place finish for Arsenal, as I think that all of the teams I haven't mentioned yet are better than Arsenal. And one of those teams is Wolves, who I predict to finish in 11th place. I think they still have a decent team. They struggled a lot last year, but I think that was mainly due to the fact that Raúl Jiménez, who scored pretty much all of their goals, was injured for the majority of the season. But he will be back, and if he can stay fit and deliver, I think Wolves gonna do well. They do have a new manager though, so they might need some time to adjust. But I would say an 11th place finish for Wolves is good. Okay, Leeds United will finish 10th for me. They've got a great manager. They're playing a great way of football. They haven't lost any key and big players. Last year they were very difficult to beat as well, and I expect similar things from them this year. I expect them to do very well. And this season they may even be a bit better because the players are getting used to the Premier League level. Now Everton will finish in 9th for me. I think Everton will perform similar as they did last year. So far the club hasn't really made any big signings. They have signed up Townsend and Gray, and they needed strengthening at the wingers position. But those players are not really players that shout at me like you want to achieve European football and you're gonna achieve European football. But defensively Everton is very solid, and up front they still have Calvert-Lewin who can bang in the goals. So a 9th place finish it is for me. And then I think West Ham United will take 8th place. They are a decent team and there seems to be a great atmosphere there. So I do expect positive things from West Ham this season too. However, every time I expected West Ham to do well, which was pretty much every year, they sucked. And last year I predicted them to narrowly avoid relegation and get into 17th place, and they achieve European football. So let's just hope West Ham can break my curse, because now I predict them to do well. They may flop this season. I think losing Lingard as well is a big loss for them, and I hope they can sign him up from Manchester United. And I also do think the fact that they have European football might tire the players out a bit because of the extra games they are getting. So I don't think they will finish top 6 this season. Now, Tottenham Hotspurs will finish 7th for me. And the main question here is, will Harry Kane stay? If Harry Kane leaves, I think Tottenham can be happy with a 7th place finish, honestly speaking. However, they do still have some world-class players on their hands, and they should still be able to compete in the top 6. But I think they will narrowly miss out with or without Kane. Their new head coach Nuno will be great for the club, I believe, and I think he will bring some nice football to the club, but a 7th place finish it will be for me. Now, one of the biggest shocks in my prediction is probably Aston Villa getting 6th. Now, listen to me. This prediction is solidly based on the fact that Jack Grealish stays. If Jack Grealish doesn't stay, just ignore this prediction. Just ignore it, okay? But last year, Aston Villa played really well football and they really surprised me. And they were fighting for top 6 until Jack Grealish got injured and was out for 3 months. Now, I think Watkins is a very good player as well. And they've added Buendia to the side. And they seem to be strengthening in the places that they need to strengthen in. I see this squad as a very young squad who is very hungry and eager to perform well. And I'm expecting great things of them. They also don't have the toughest start to the competition. So I think that can set them off on a great foot and get in a good run of results to, you know, be there in the top of the league. Now for 5th place for me, it will be Leicester City. They will again miss out on a Champions League spot. There's nothing I can fault in Leicester's team. Like, they've got a great team, they've got a good manager, great system, they play fantastic football. But it's just that the other 4 teams in the top 4, I think, are just stronger. They're just better teams. So it will be a 5th place finish for Leicester. Now, this may also be a bit of a shock, but I predict Manchester United to finish in 4th place. Now, I think Manchester United is a great team and they've made great additions in Sancho and in Varane. And on paper, they do have a title-winning team. Like, this team can win the title. The only position they may need some strengthening in is a defensive midfielder. But besides that, this team can't get much better. I think what is the main difference here as regards to Manchester United towards Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester City is the coach. And I'm not hating on Solskjaer here, because I think he's a decent coach, he's a great man manager, and in any other competition, a great man and manager may get you a title. But Solskjaer is competing here with Klopp, who is a great tactician as well as a great man manager. Tuchel, who is a great tactician, has just won the Champions League with Chelsea as well. And Manchester City with Guardiola, who is considered one of the best managers in the world. He may not be the best man manager, but players respect him so much that that doesn't really matter. I think Solskjaer just can't compete tactically with those coaches. And that's why Manchester United will be in 4th, even though this team can win the title. Now, I think Liverpool will finish in 3rd place. They had a very bad season last year, but Van Dijk was injured pretty much most of it, and a lot of key players got injured. But Liverpool is not suddenly a bad team. You know, this team still won the Premier League. This team still won the Champions League. And if their key players can stay fit this year, they will perform well again. But each year, Liverpool do seem to stagnate a bit. And I think that's mostly due to their financial capabilities. And this year, I think Chelsea and Manchester City are just a step above Liverpool. Now, I think Chelsea will finish in second place. They are a great team. They've got a great manager and they've been so immense under Tuchel. And last year they deservedly won the Champions League as well. And they can for sure win the league this year too. Chelsea is good enough to do it, but they need a lot of concentration. Because against a team like Manchester City, you can't make any mistakes. Like, you have to get 3 points pretty much every game. Now, it could be that since they won the Champions League last year, that this year they're solidly focused on the Premier League and they want to win the Premier League this year. If that's the case, they could do exactly what Liverpool did 2 years ago when they won the Premier League. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very tough, and they need to be very, very concentrated if they want to have a chance. So that means there's only one team left, and that is Manchester City, who will finish first for me. I mean, the team is just insane, really, and only to imagine if they can add Kane to this team. Like, they've gone clear then. They've gone clear. You know, Gabriel Jesus is a good player and a decent striker, but he's not an elite level striker, you know? Kane is elite level. But even without acquiring Harry Kane, this team should still be good enough to become champions. And I think they will. And I think they'll do very well. But this year, I think it will be a lot closer than other years, because Chelsea is very strong. I expect Liverpool to be really strong and Manchester United to be strong too. Now, that's been it for my prediction. Please let me know in the comments down below what your prediction is. I would love to hear that. And please subscribe and like as well if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys later for another video. Bye bye.
I live in the moment, praying for the future. I gotta maneuver, I just gotta own